Good morning to you, our cherished viewers. You're welcome once again to another session of our Digital World Series program. My name is Princess Ewina Indom, and I am the coordinator for American Kana at Boba at Mobile Web Ghana. American Spaces provides access to current and reliable information about the United States through its book collections, internet access, events, and activities for everyone. Are you ready to learn? Well, today we will be discussing the topic digital verification tools for fact-checking, and this will be facilitated by Rosalina Ahiable, who is a programs officer for Dubawa, Ghana. Rosalina is a communications specialist and has an extensive background in projects and events management. She has overseen many successful advertising and marketing campaigns for notable brands in Ghana. She's also an avid fact checker with great interest in open source investigations. She has trained journalists and students in fact checking and has also trained members of the West African Observers Network on electoral misinformation and disinformation. She also served as a consultant for the production of the toolkits dealing with disinformation and misinformation during elections for use by the West African Observers Networks. During the session, please type all your comments or questions in the comments box below, and they will be addressed. Thank you for staying with us. And now I would hand it over to Rosalina. Good morning, Rosalina. Hello, Rosalina. Okay, so as we wait for Rosalina to share her screen, and I want to welcome you all for joining today's discussion. It promises to be exciting and educative. And so I want to introduce you to an amazing resource that you'll find helpful, which is the eLibrary USA. And this is the state-of-the-art digital library with a 9 premier electronic database that includes digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, and dissertations. And so this resource is an online library which will be available to use. My colleagues on standby will share the link in the comment section so that you can sign up to have this amazing resource. And so now, Rosalina, are you ready now?
Yes, please. Sorry for the internet problem. Okay, so thanks for the introduction and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone joining us, depending on where you're joining us from and when you'll be watching this. So please permit me to share my screen with you so that we can proceed. Okay. So have us go through digital verification tools for fact checking. And before we begin, briefly what fact checking is. Fact checking is basically investigating claims or otherwise facts that have been stated within the public space and that have potential to cause any harm or has the potential to influence people's decision-making, etc. And at Dubawa, we believe that promoting a culture of truth is integral to the information ecosystem in which we operate. So to begin with, when dealing with multimedia content, it's not something that is new to us. We come across videos, images, audio, and text that is oftentimes said to be something that it is not. And as fact checkers, it's our duty to put the right information out there. And over time, we've found that social media and online digital platforms have served as a medium for the spread of this type of content. And I like to use this example to pose a question. Who do you think manipulates media? A lot of us came across this picture of Prince William some time back where different narratives came out concerning this. So I like to say that everybody has a hand to play in how content is put out there and the information or the feedback that can be received from or harnessed from the information. So take, for instance, the first part of the picture. It looks as if Prince William is flicking off the press, which when you look at a different angle or a different perspective gives the actual truth. What he was actually doing is just lifting up 3 fingers. So everybody has a hand to play depending on what you put out and what is put out and how you interact with it. So what should you do when you come across content that is questionable or content that you'd like to find out if it's truth or otherwise? It's important that we learn to pause, or as our friends at Yalu say, stop, and do not be too quick to share. In this day and age, it's quite easy to just click forward or share and then share with multiple friends or colleagues, but it's important that you pause before you take any rash moves. And then to secondly, look critically at the content that you've received, or in other words, reflect on what it is that you're looking at. And then thirdly, to ask questions, verify, what is this information I'm seeing? Does it seem to have anything wrong? Does it look manipulated? Are the images in the right places? Should it look the way it looks, basically, before you proceed to do whatever it is you want to do with that content. And there are various types of misleading content or visual content that we come across. The first being one that is said to be of a place or of a time that may not necessarily.
Hello, Rosalina.
Hello, yes.
Yeah, can you please share your slides? It's not showing.
Okay. Okay, can you see now?
Yes, it's now.
It's loading.
Yes, it's now loading.
Okay. Okay. So sorry about, does that mean that you lost me earlier?
Yes, so I thought it deliberately was given an introduction, so it's showing now.
Okay. My apologies about that. Okay, so like I was saying, there are various types of false or misleading visual content that we come across. One example is wrong time or wrong place, where content may be used out of context. Maybe a video or an image that was taken last year may be used to tell a narrative in 2022. And that in itself is something that may come out as false or, yes, manipulated. So we watch out for stuff like that. We have manipulated content, which is content that is digitally manipulated using video editing software and other things. And an example would be what we are now facing, being deep and shallow fakes, where a video may be fast forwarded or slowed down to portray something that it may not be, or where technology is being used to create and impersonate people in ways that may be harmful to consumers and to the person's reputation. We also have staged content, where it's false content created with the sole intent of misleading people. So for general tips, I'm spending time on this before we move to the tools, because it's important for us to know that the tools are there to help us. They are not the complete solution, for lack of a better way of putting it, to false claims being put out there. It will help you in your fact checking. In most cases, you may end up using multiple tools for claims depending on the nature of the claim and the angle at which you're approaching it. So it's important to not limit yourself to tools or to just one tool, and to rely on other sources, rely on local authorities, reliable people, or people that are vested within the claim that you're working on. Ask questions, always draw a plan before you begin to do your verification, and then always look out for original content. So if it's an image that you are verifying, it's best to always look for the original image. That may help better, especially when it comes to some of the software that you deal with. And then in cases where you're dealing with social media, it's always best to look out for verified accounts when you're looking for your sources to support your verification process. And in certain common situations, when you're not sure what to do, for instance, with real photos that may come from unrelated events, you run what we call a reverse image search. We'll get to that shortly, but keep at the top of your mind that these are some of the things that you can do in the process of verification. So for such real photos that may be unrelated to events, run a reverse image search. It will help you find earlier versions of the content and help direct you to where you need to go. We have ads, movies, and stage scenes. It's good to look for credible sources or reliable sources. If it's something that has to do with health in Ghana, for instance, it'd be good to go to the Ministry of Health or the Ghana Health Service, contact local authorities for more information as well. And for Photoshop images as well, it's the same process. Go to the source. If it's an image of the president, for instance, it would be good to go to his office or reach out to his office to try to verify if it's really from them, etc. And it's also very important to be wary of gory images or headlines that seem to be out of the ordinary. They're often clickbaits, and the story within them may not necessarily be the same as the headline indicates. And then for fake tweets, Facebook posts, etc., it's always good to go and look for the original post, and that will help you be able to determine where something may have gone wrong or where some editing might have taken place. And for fake websites, we always encourage that you look out for the bylines. What does the byline say? Who is the author of the piece? Check the quality of writing, because oftentimes fake content that comes out may come out with a lot of typographical errors, grammatical errors, and whatnot. And you can always check for plagiarism by copying and pasting the content online if it's text, to find out if that is true. And then you can always check the About Us or Contact Us pages, because some of these pages put out content that is meant to be satirical and it may be taken out of context. So for those who may not necessarily have the time to put visual context to test themselves and find out the truth or otherwise, we have a lot of options available. We have something called the Factech Explorer, and it is basically a search engine for fact checks. So for instance, if there's a story about monkeypox, for instance, you can go to Factech Explorer, type in monkeypox, and all fact checks that have been done on the subject will pop up. If it's about personalities, the same thing. And for instance, if you know fact-checking organizations like Dubawa, you can type in Dubawa and find all content from Dubawa showing up. So let's get into some of the tools. We'll look at reverse image search with Yandex, Bing, Google Reverse Image Search, and TinEye. We'll look briefly at data, EXIF Data Viewer, and then Invid Video Verifier. So with reverse image search, what it helps you to do is to look for duplicates of the image online, try to ascertain when the image was first cited online, and in some cases allows you to compare versions of the image that you've submitted into the search engine with images that might have been drawn out from the search. And then it will also present you with visually similar images that you can use to find a sense of direction for where you want to go. So the first is Yandex. From this point on, I will be going in between the slides and my web browser so that I can give you a more practical view of how things work, because this session usually takes a hands-on way of going about it, because we want people to be able to do it for themselves. So I'll try to mimic that as best as I can. If you have a laptop, please feel free to do what I'm doing to see what you come up with. So Yandex is a very strong search engine and is very good with identifying facial profiles, landscapes, and other kinds of things. And it works best in European contexts and can help you to segregate like portions of the image that you feed into it. So permit me to go into my web browser to show you what I'm talking about. So this is usually the interface for Yandex. And if you can see my cursor, there's an image icon here. If you want to feed any kind of image for a search, you just click on that, select a file and proceed. So because my internet is worrying me a bit, I'll just fast forward. I fed this picture into Yandex, and what the page does, like I said, is to show you visually similar images, as you can see, and it will be able to identify, in most cases, the location in which the picture was taken. So for instance, this says this happened somewhere in Venice, Italy. And for when you want to crop out and zone into a specific thing. So for instance, this image is said to be taken of a couple somewhere just before an explosion. This is just me making something up. You can decide to crop out an area. So in this case, we may not be interested in who the couple is, but we may be interested in where this picture was taken. So we can decide to focus on, let's say, this architecture. You could opt to use the lake if you think it to be easily identified. And then you run a search focusing on the selected area. So you see that visually similar images will come up about, like with the main focus being the building, and you can be able to confirm if indeed this place is Italy or not. And like I was saying, the tools are only here to help. So it's not enough that you see it here. You can proceed to do a search in Google Maps to see if you can identify this building in the maps based on what you find on the material. Okay, so I'll go back again to my slides. This will be happening quite often, so please bear with me. And we'll move to Bing. Bing is pretty much like Yandex and like all the other reverse image search engines that I'll expose you to today. So what is key with this is that the better your image resolution, the better the results you find. And over, I think last year, somewhere last year, when during the COVID and all that, this claim came out. It was quite viral on Facebook that several millions of people had gone missing, and this was supposedly breaking news on CNN. So some of our readers or our audiences sent this out to us to find out if this is true. Are people really going missing, and what could be the cause? So we put this to test, simply using reverse image search. And what we found was that this photo had nothing really in particular to do with millions of people missing. The anchor was actually not a CNN anchor, but someone who was working with ABC News from Australia. So to go past that, you'd have to, go into some of the pictures that come up, find out what the content is saying about it, and then you proceed to write your fact check. So for instance, here you can see that the person is Natasha Exelby and she was fired for some reason. You can proceed to open that because all these pictures are linked to websites that have information. So as a fact checker, it's not enough to see that, yes, okay, she's from ABC News and not CNN, but what was really behind the photo? And you come to see that she was caught off guard while presenting on air. So we're back to the slides again. Move to Google reverse image search. Google is quite common. Almost everybody uses it, and this particular reverse image search is widely used. And because of the scope that Google allows you, it's very effective for use in Africa and the world over. So, and what it can do also is that it's very effective in finding locations, like I've said earlier. So for instance, if you have an image like this, quite random, you cannot tell where this was taken from, all you have to do is to go to Google Images, and this is how the interface is. You click on search using an image, upload your image, and it will give you, yes. And then it will come up with visually similar images that you can further probe to find out where this picture was taken from. So for instance, this is suggesting that this photo is somewhere from Myanmar. You can continue to the blog site or the website that is linked to the photo to find out the exact name of the place and where it can be located and what is done there, etc., depending on what you are looking to find. We'll go back to the slide again and go forward. Okay, so this is another search engine that I love to use, mainly because it gives me an added feature that I do not have in the others. So for instance, with 10i, it gives you the opportunity to compare images. So the image you feed is run online and other similar images are brought up, and then you'll be able to compare to see where the difference is to be able to help you in your search. And I came up with this breaking news all by myself last night, and it says that the city of London has been submerged in water after it was hit by a typhoon last night. So this excuse completely false, by the way, but then it's just a way to help you understand how this works. And when you run a 10i search, let's try doing that together. You can just type 10i.com in any search engine that you're using, click upload, and then you have the opportunity to select whatever image it is that you'd want it to analyze for you. And it may take a bit of time, okay? Thank God it didn't. You have many options come up. Like I said, similar images, that dates and times to when it was found online, like the date I'm circling right now. We have 2021, we have 2019, we have 2020, February, September 2021, etc. So you automatically see that these dates, the dates that is suggesting that this picture might have existed online before yesterday. So that, as a fact checker, is a light bulb going off that this may not necessarily be the case. So you proceed to look through, and then you may identify versions that are similar to what you fed to the engine, and then something that may be different from what may be online. So for instance, this particular one shows us what looks to be almost the exact same background, but this time the water isn't as high and we see boats on the water. You are able to compare the image you fed and the image match, right? It's quite easy. You can go between and identify spots that suggest that, well, it may be the exact same image, looking at the cloud formation, the building, angles, and all that. And then you can proceed from there to reach out to local authorities to find out if indeed there was a typhoon last night. In cases like this, you usually find that the major news establishment would have reported on such a thing. So it's good to look for other sources to corroborate what you find via the tool. Okay. So, for instance, last year we came across a claim that was sent to us on Facebook. It had gone quite viral. It was suggesting that Jane Mensah prominent political figure in Ghana, had set up some huge establishments from money that they claimed had been taken from political issues, etc. I'm sure the Ghanaians on here, you know what I mean. And by that, otherwise you can go to the Dubai website, look for this claim, and also have a read on it yourself. So what we did using Yandex, for example, is to section out the building that is claimed to belong to the lady in question and run a reverse image search. And the search showed us that this building was visually similar to an unfinished hotel in Montenegro. So we, from that point, proceeded to check hotels or unfinished hotels online in Montenegro, and we're able to see that it's actually the same as is being suggested to belong to the lady in question. And we reached out to authorities to find out if indeed this is the case, and we're able to put across a very solid fact check on the matter. And just recently, another viral video where a photo went out of the Ukraine president, that he had joined the troops at the defense front. And this was quite interesting because people were wondering why he would take such a position, why would he take such a risk, etc., while others were praising him for it. We were able to use a reverse image search to find out that this was not the case. It was actually a dated photo that was used out of context, the 2021 photo being misrepresented in 2022. Quite recently, again, this I find quite funny because if you've done a lot of fact checking over time, you can automatically see from this picture that this is not real. But it's important to know that not everybody is able to quickly identify things like this, and they may not even spend the time to analyze this picture themselves to see if something looks off. So things like this can easily get out of hand and be spread wide and far. So it was claimed that China is planting chicken organs in cows to produce eggs faster. Using a reverse image search, like I've shown you so far, we're able to quickly identify the original picture and found that it was actually from the Institute of Basic Sciences website, and there were no eggs in the photo at all, and the narrative was completely different. And from this, again, proceed to look for other sources that can verify as well, just to give you a stronger fact check and a more solid outlook on what was presented. So from there, we can quickly move to EXIF data or metadata. And what EXIF data is basically data on data, or data on an existing data. So for instance, what information is available on an image, it's quite easy to find information on original images using EXIF data viewer. Why I say original images is because in certain instances, or in most instances rather, when images are uploaded online and mainly on social media sites, this kind of information is wiped out. So you may not have some properties that can help you identify when the image was taken, the device that was used, the location that was used, etc. And there are various versions of EXIF data viewers online. There are some called MetaPix, EXIF2, Jimpo, etc. Personally, I use the EXIF Viewer Pro, and it's installed on my laptop, so we can run a quick search to see what we find. So with a particular viewer, EXIF data viewer I use, what it does is if you come across a picture and upload it, and that picture happens to have EXIF data available on it, a small camera, as seen in the corner here where my cursor is circling, would pop up. And once you click on that, you get content on the image in question. It may not be enough or it may be enough depending on what you're looking for. So for instance, we can see that this photo was taken using this camera. We're also able to tell the date it was originally taken. Here, for instance, it was taken in 2006, October 11th. And even tells you if there was a flash when the image was being taken, etc. Things that can help you put a time or put a day or something that can help you put your fact check together. So it's important here, again, like I said, to look for original images that have not been wiped clean of their EXIF data. And in some cases, if you're fortunate enough, unfortunately, this picture does not have it, you may have geolocation tags on the photo. What they would usually do is to give you coordinates that you can feed into Google Maps, and it will take you to the exact point that this photo was taken. So we'll go back to the slide again, and we'll proceed. Now, when verifying videos and you have a background in verifying images, you're not too far off. So video verification is similar to image verification, and you come to, but it's important to know that it can be a bit more tedious opposed to verifying images, because it may be more time consuming. There may be different angles they need to look at for a video, whereas you may not necessarily have to do interpretation of language. In most videos, you may have to, if the video is taken in a different language, etc. So it's key that you look for discrepancies in a video. Watch the video in full. Try to identify things that may seem strange, like distortions in the video. Is there a jump in the role of the video? Are there shadows that seem out of place, etc.? And then look out for details within the video that can help you locate it or identify where the video was taken. So for instance, construction. Architecture is of good help. If you're able to identify a building, you can then proceed to run that search or a search in an engine to find out where the architecture or the construction is located. You may also use number plates to find out where a video or an image was taken from. And then street signs are also helpful as well. The tool I'll expose you to is InVid. InVid is very helpful in finding contextual information on a video. And what it does is it can fragment your video into smaller portions. So it will break the video up, break it into key images that you can feed into reverse image searches. Now, that is why I said you should bear in mind that once you have some exposure to verifying images, it's not too far off when you come to verifying videos. And one other feature with this particular tool is that it gives you the ability to magnify portions of your video, to look closer at it, to analyze it. And what is good about it is that it has a tutorial section that can teach you what you can do with the tool. So if you're able to use it well and to learn more about it, you may even be able to use it to do some forensic analysis, which has to do with finding out if images are edited, what can be indicative of editing within a video or an image. So the example I'll use is a viral video that came out a few months ago. Showed some fighter jets in an airspace, and it was claimed that they were the Russian jets that have taken over the Ukrainian airspace. So what we did, this is the video in question. I'll play briefly so you can have an idea of what it looks like, and then I'll show you how we proceed to check something like this in InVid. So this is a brief show of what it was. And then when you come to InVid, let me show you the interface. This is how it usually presents itself. To use the tool, you click on tools, you can do video analysis. And in YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you go straight to your URL, you copy it, and then you paste it into the tool. And then you submit for a check to be run on it. This sometimes takes a lot of time. Oh, wow. Okay, this time this was very quick. So you get data on the video and on the channel on which it was posted. So in this case, you can see that the channel was created in 2015, how many people are subscribed to the channel. That means that whatever content they put out reaches 864,000 people who are subscribers, and then those who may not be subscribers. So you see how quickly this kind of information can spread. And then it goes on to give you thumbnails and gives you the option to run reverse image searches in Google, Yandex, Tinai, and you can even do a Twitter video search as well. Once you are able to do this, you can just click on any of them and it will run the search for you. Try to find out visually similar images and give you, like you can see here, where this video has been showed as well. And then you can proceed to do your verification by reaching out to other sources to put that to test. And in this particular case, we found that it was used out of context again. And that was actually a dated video from May 4th, 2020. An example of a report Tubawa did recently is one of a policeman that was found to be overpowering what was claimed to be one of the gunmen that hit the Catholic Church in a war. It was a tragic incident, and at the time that it was released, it was very viral, and because emotions were high, it was a very good time for something like this to come out. So a lot of people bought into it and were excited that the policeman had indeed overpowered the gunman. But when we put this to test, we found that it was actually not the case. The video was actually a video from Togo, and it was taken some days before the incident that happened in Nigeria. And why it's important to note other things, that this particular video had French in it. So it's not enough to just put this video into reverse image search and find out that, okay, it didn't happen here or it didn't happen there, because a French person can be in Nigeria. But when you interpret what was said, you are able to add more flesh to your fact check. It's able to tell you and give you some more context into what is being shared. And then aside the tools that I've gone through right now, being the InVid, Meta, EXIF Data Viewer, and the various reverse image searches, there are a multitude of tools out there that are at your disposal to use when trying to verify a claim. One of which is what most of us have on our phones but do not really regard much, which is Google Maps. Google Map is a great tool that fact checkers use. We are able to geographically locate places. So for instance, if a claim comes out that there's a fire at, let's say, Circle, or let's say GBC Towers, you'll be able to find out if indeed the image that is being shared is the same as the actual place. And you can do this by simply going into Google Maps and comparing the image in the claim that is being shared and what you're actually seeing before you. And then there are photo forensics tools that help you to determine if a photo or an image has been tampered with. It can highlight to you using different types of analysis to find out if some work has been done. We have something else called the Wayback Machine that in most cases have saved a lot of us, because you may be working on a claim and the person who posted that claim may take down that claim in the process of searching for it, and you may not have taken a screenshot or saved it somewhere by then. Wayback Machine helps you to save such content to save it and keep it secure for you to come back to at any time that you need to work with it. And then it's also randomly captures all manner of websites or pages, profiles, and stuff like that that are public, and it will capture and save, and you can easily go there and search for content that you're looking for. And when it comes to social media, specifically Twitter, we have an application called Follow Me that will give you details about public Twitter profiles. So once a Twitter profile is public, you can easily put it in here and find out information about it. If, for instance, it's claimed that somebody has done something, you can easily go to their profile to find out if indeed they have posted something that is being shared widely or not. We have Wolfram Alpha as well that can help determine weather conditions. And you may ask, how does this help? So in certain videos or images, you may see that it took place when it was raining or when it was sunny or perhaps cloudy. And if you use Wolfram Alpha, for instance, in your church, you may be able to tell that on a specific day, what was the weather condition like? And if that tallies with the image or the video that you're putting under the verification eye, then you'll be able to confirm that, yes, indeed, that day it might have been raining, or you can also find that it was not raining that day, it was actually a sunny day. This photo could not have happened at that time. It could not have been taken at that time. And then you proceed to continue a verification process from there. We also have SunCalc that confirm time of day. And though quite a complex tool, if you're able to get your hands on it and learn how to use it, it's very helpful in determining time of day. So it uses a shadow cast feature that helps you to tell what time a video was taken based on the shadow that is cast. And then we have others like Radar Box that helps in tracking flights in claims where it may be suggested that a flight has gone somewhere else that it's not supposed to, or if somebody has arrived via flights to a region or may not have arrived, you can use Radar Box to help you find out something like that. And there are a host of others. This is in nowhere near exhausted, but just know that there are a lot of tools at your disposal. There's a lot that you can do just by searching, just by looking. And I'll end by saying that it's important that we change the way we consume news and the way we share content, no matter the type, because whatever you put out there has a tendency to be taken out of context or to be used for certain things that may not necessarily be your intent for sharing. So you can reach out to Dubawa on any of our social media platforms or our website. If you have claims that you need verified, just visit any of these places and share those claims with us. If you need help in verifying anything, we are always available to help. We are just a click away. Thank you very much. And that will be it for me today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Elena, for this insightful presentation. There are so many tools that you've introduced to us that personally I didn't know of. And honestly, I didn't know that using Google Maps was another way for fact checking. And so to our viewers, it's now time for questions. And so we would encourage you to send in your questions in the comments box and they will be addressed. There are two questions in now. And so as we wait for the other questions, and so this is coming in from Nathaniel Chure, and he's asking, what works best in an African context? Probably in relation to fact checking.
Okay, so specifically for Google reverse image search, I would suggest that you go for an image or video verification search, you go for Google reverse image search because it has a wider reach and a wider scope of data that you can use in your verification process.
Okay, thank you. And he asked another question: are there offline reverse image search tools, just in case one has no access to the internet?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you come again?
Okay, let me take it again. Are there offline reverse image search tools just in case one has no access to the internet?
Most of these engines are online, and so it's difficult to do a reverse image search without having access to the engine. So it's okay to, like I said, rely on other sources. So you can make a call or visit or write a letter to whatever institution it is that may be making a claim, or other relevant sources that are reliable to support whatever claim it is, or to help provide information that can help you to put your fact check together.
Okay. Thanks for the answer. I hope, Nathaniel, you are clear on this. And so, Rosalina, is there a possible way of fact checking via USSGs?
Is there a possible way to fact check using?
So when you have a message, a regular text message, USSG, is there a way to fact check? Yes.
In most cases, let's say if a fact check, let's say a claim is being taken out of context, let's say a screenshot of a text is taken, right? We have softwares that people are able to use to wipe off sections of it and to type in different types of content, right? So in such a case, you can feed this picture into some of the forensic tools. Forensic tools will be able to help you identify sections that may have been edited within the photo that you have. So you just take a screenshot, and then it's quite dicey with this tool, because how you save an image can impact the information that you get on it. So if you save in a resolution that is too low, the quality of the output may also be low. So you save it once, feed it to the tool, and then it may be able to identify sections that may be error filled. It will give you a red flag of sort. But it will not tell you yes, it is edited, or no, it is not edited, but it will give you indications that something has gone wrong, and then can proceed to do other checks, like reaching out to the person who is claimed to have sent the text message to confirm or otherwise.
Thank you very much for your answer. And so to our viewers, we're still waiting for your questions. And so, Rosalina, are there laws or other policies that govern how information is disseminated? And so if there's a culprit who is found out, is there a punishment that goes with his offense?
Definitely, there's a lot on that. So in as much as we are free to put out content, there are of course laws guiding the kind of content you put out, and you know, because once you put out content, it has the tendency to cause, you know, some in worst case scenarios, we can bring a lot of problems, right? So I think last year or so, there was a gentleman that was caught for sharing false information, and this is not secluded to only him. Every person who shares information is at risk. Misinformation is at risk of being caught, because it is a criminal offense if you put out false information. So yes, there are laws in place to protect consumers from this kind of content.
Thanks for your answer. And so how about children or teenagers who have access to the internet or mobile devices? In what ways can these ones fact check information they get? Or how can parents also help their children? For parents who are here watching, how can they ensure that their children are safe?
Okay, so I'll say education is important, and we need to teach the young ones what the consequences of some of these actions can be, the potential damage that it can cause. And there's a lot of media information literacy around that can help parents to educate their child on what to do with online content or what to do online. because first and foremost, it's even risky having our kids on there. I have a 6-year-old myself who is always online. So I worry about what he's watching, what he's being exposed to. So it's important to educate as much as possible all users of the internet on what is right, what is wrong, how to interact with information, and what to do with it when you come in contact with it.
Thank you, Rosalina. And so one last question, with all the tools that you have introduced to us today, are they all free? Are they open source? Or there are some that would require payments?
So majority of them are free. Like the reverse image search engines, they are all free to use. And the good thing about it is that there are some that you can even use with your mobile phone. Google reverse image search is something that you can use on your mobile phone. When you come across an image that you find questionable, you can use your phone. You can do a long press. For my phone, for instance, you just need to long press on it and submit to search via Google, and you can readily on the go check to see where that content might have appeared online elsewhere, etc. So it's yeah. I hope that helps answer that.
Yes. Thank you very much, Rosalina. I have learned a lot, and I know very well that our viewers have also gained so much information, because I could see it from in our comment box with the comments coming in. Thank you, Rosalina, for all this. And so before we end the session, we want to take your final words.
Okay. So it's important that we make efforts to verify information that we come across. And like I said, do not forget to use multiple sources. Dubawa is always available to help as best we can. We are just a click away, just a call away. And most importantly, like YALI, the Young African Leaders Initiative said, stop, reflect, and verify. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Rosalina. What a nice way to end. So stop, reflect, and verify. Thank you so much for making time to have this discussion and to also teach us. And to you, our viewers, thank you so much for staying with us. But before I end today's program, I want to introduce you to an online resource. And for those of us who joined early on, I did share information about this resource. So this is the eLibrary USA, a state-of-the-art digital library with a 9 premium electronic database that includes digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, and dissertations. And so if you are interested in having access to this resource, and please click on the link that will be shared in the comments box here on YouTube, and then you would have access to this amazing resource. And so this has been a wonderful program brought to you by the U.S. Embassy Ghana, American Kana Agoba, in partnership with Mobile Web Ghana. And please do follow us on our YouTube channel and be updated of our subsequent programs that would keep you informed and also enlighten you. So this concludes our program for today. Thank you all for joining. Continue to keep safe and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.